Oh, hey friends. How you doing? Have you drank some water today? Did you eat? You know what I'm learning to do is actually clear off my desk when I'm done. So I have a sense of when I come back to my desk, it's not like, oh, and I had all these snacks and cups because I'm in crazy manic creative mode and this is so much fun, but this is claustrophobic and gross. If you're anything like me and you care a lot and you tend to eat at your desk and live at your desk, when you're done, it's really good for your psyche to just put everything away and get everything perfectly ready for the next time you sit down. Even wiping down your keyboard really kind of clears your head. Anyway, how you doing? I hope you're doing okay. The more I talk to everyone, the more I see everybody is not okay, and it's okay to not be okay. But what got us here is not what's going to get us there, which is an engaged workforce and unlocking your big, beautiful HR career. And today I'm going to talk about some of the things I'm hearing and some of the things I'm seeing online that are just giving me the ick. And it's a few things. First of all, I love when you all reach out to me on LinkedIn. Please continue to do that. I will respond to you. And I'm hearing, though, time and time again, what's landing in my inbox is, Christy, I attended one of your webinars and that was the most helpful session I've ever been to. Or I listened to one of your episodes and I actually had practical next steps. Thank you. I have been watching HR webinars for at least 5 or 6 years now. And you're not crazy. The content that's out there is really ambiguous. The webinars that I sit on still to this day, or I even get invited to speak and the other people talk and they're like, you need to optimize this and pick the right tool and then have a smooth rollout and then check back in with your people and make sure that you have people analytics. And on paper, initially when you hear that, you think, oh, that's so helpful. But if you've ever left a webinar thinking, wait, what does that mean? What does that look like? It's because they didn't tell you. It would be like if you attended a webinar on how to get physically fit and they were like, go to the gym, eat healthy food and get enough sleep and drink water. And you're like, yeah, okay. But then you go to do it and you're like, oh, which gym? What workout do I do? What do I wear to the gym? What do I do if I get injured? How often should I go to the gym? What workout should I do? In what order? Now I'm sore. How many days do I wait before I start working out again? Is it okay to work out while I'm sore? What food do I eat? How often do I eat? How do I know how many grams of protein I need? What if I have anxiety and I can't sleep? What do I do if I'm an insomniac and I'm very stressed out and upset and I can't get myself to go to sleep? What do I do? Well, how much sleep is enough sleep? That's the equivalent of what the HR content out there is. It's like making you think you have the answers, but it's setting you up for imposter syndrome because then you go to do it and you're like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, there must be something wrong with me. And I don't think anyone does this on purpose. I really do think these other HR thought leaders and these other brands are trying to be helpful. But when I speak on those webinars as a panel, I'm like just waiting for my turn to talk like, okay, yep, that's good advice. Let me translate. Here's what that means. To pick the right tool, you need to ask your employees, what do you not like about this? So that I can go shop for a tool with that problem statement in mind. So for example, you're doing performance management software. You need a tool to do that. You don't just go pick a tool according to what you need, which is reports and data and whatever integration you're going to use. Yes, that stuff needs to be considered, but you have a smooth rollout when you tell employees that you're going to be redoing that program, performance management and performance reviews, whatever. And you ask them what they've not liked about it in the past. And then when you find the patterns in those statements, you go shopping for a tool and you ask that sales rep, hey, how does your product solve for this? So that way, when you go to roll out, hey, we've got a new tool we need you to use, please. I know you all struggle with rollouts. You say, my job is to deliver a better employee experience and empower you to do your best work. Here's what you said you didn't like about this. We're implementing this new tool. It addresses these concerns that you've had. Then your employees are like, yeah, you're not smacking me upside the head with something else I have to log into. You were shopping with me in mind. They may not even have that thought consciously. It will be subconsciously a message that you care about them and you're not just doing something for you, or you're not forcing them to do something they don't want to do. You're doing it with them in mind. These webinars are just like, do the thing and then do the next thing. And it frustrates me because you're left thinking you got answers and then you go to do it and you're confused and you're lost. Then you're pulled in a million other directions and then you kind of just jump into stuff half knowing really what to do or what to expect. And I will forever make my content, hey, here's why this is important. Here's how to think about starting a project like this. Here's how to think through everything that could go wrong. And when it goes wrong, here's what to do. That's why a lot of my content too has scripts. I give you a lot of verbal written prompts for situations where you would be talking to your CEO. Here's why I need budget in terms that they care about, which is revenue. Hey, employees, I need you to take this survey. And you don't just tell them, take a survey. If you tell them at all, some companies just send you a survey to employees. It lands in our inbox like a grenade. And we're like, oh my God. I have scripts for, hey, I know in the past or at other companies, maybe surveys haven't gone very well, or you haven't seen happen what you hoped would. I want you to know this company's different, or this time around is different. My content gives you way more in the weeds, the information you need to be successful in your role. So if you're ever finding yourself on someone's webinar and it's vague and it's ambiguous, get off, because you don't have a lot of time. You're busy and you need to make sure that you're giving your learning time to someone, I don't care if it's me or someone else, giving you practical advice, tactical stuff. Just because it's a big logo doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. They're trying to get you to sign up for a demo for their tool where the AEs barely even know you as a persona, and you're going to wander through a discovery call and get super frustrated that they're like trying to force you to buy tech. Look for the other HR thought leaders out there. I'm starting to find a lot of HR practitioners that are super smart that I vet all my content through. And that's why my stuff is like also super dialed in, because I have an army of super smart HR professionals that I'm like, what am I missing? Christy Williams is one of them. Beth McClelland is another one. She worked at Google for like 8 years. Jessica Russell Gilliam is another one. Some of you know her as JRuss. I also run my content through JJ from my very brief stint at WorkLeap. She helped build Office Vibe. I'm always pushing my content past other really smart people to be like, help me make this better. What am I missing? And they always round it out for me. So just be careful where you're getting your information. The other two things I'm seeing is this campaign around the moments that matter. I don't know who started it, but I'm seeing it on HR Brew. I'm seeing it on HBR. I'm seeing tech companies start to use it. There's this campaign that's like, find the moments that matter and really lean into those, which again, sounds nice. But the problem is what then they're pitching are the moments that matter is like, you need better onboarding. You need employee recognition. It's like, yeah, of course you do. But are you accidentally giving recognition for employees who are sacrificing their sanity and their families to keep up with the ridiculous pace of the work where your company's not on track to hit revenue and engagement's really low? Those aren't the moments that matter. And if you're not careful, you're going to get sucked into these buzzword, mainstream, fix these parts of your EX campaign language where it's like, hold on, before you recognize everyone for the great work they do and onboard them into this company, is the company operating at a pace that actually works? Are you accidentally giving the message that we only recognize the people who are hustling and busting their ass at the expense of their sanity? Because that is what I've seen play out. The employees that get recognized, which oftentimes was me, because I was lost in my own personal life and figuring out who I was, and I got a lot of value from performance. That was the type of situation I grew up in. Everything was very performance-based. That's how you got attention. So unfortunately, your recognition program could be causing a lot of toxic behavior to unfold when employees are like, I guess to be seen as anything, I need to sell my soul and put my family and my fitness and my mental health last. And that's why then you need a wellness program. And that's why then you've got employees who are just kind of humdrumming along because no one can keep up with that rapid pace. And you don't want to accidentally reward behavior that you don't know is actually the company going off the rails, and you have no idea that there's other underlying moments and decisions that are being made on teams because managers aren't equipped to properly scope projects and yada yada. From my perspective of the disengaged employee, I don't need recognition before I need my manager to handle the brilliant jerk in the meeting so that we see that there are guardrails and that we are okay and safe to give our best ideas and we're not going to get treated poorly by that brilliant jerk. I want to see two leaders debate an idea to the point where one of them points to a company value and says, this is why we have to go this path. This is why this is the best decision. And the other leader says, you're right. So I see that the company values actually mean something. I want meetings that have an agenda and pre-work so I know why I'm there. Because I don't know how many times I was in a meeting where I'm like, everyone's going around and talking to think for this person who threw a meeting on called a something brain dump, sync, or brainstorm. And there's like 8 people on the meeting, and it's really the person saying, I have way too much going on. We're all working on too much. I don't know what success looks like in this project, and I'm trying to vet with all of you. What am I supposed to do, and how can all of you help? And if you're lucky, the employees are friends, and they'll get through it and they'll help each other like that. But most of the time, even if we're friends, it's annoying. And it's because there's a lack of clarity around what are the goals? What beat of the drum are we all marching to in the all hands where it like told a story and we feel compelled and excited to jump into action. When there's no clear direction and company goals don't ladder down to team goals, don't ladder down to individual goals, and they're given on time. Everything's a fire drill. Managers aren't properly managing or scoping projects or looking at some kind of dashboard asynchronously to make sure everyone's working on things that make sense. It's anarchy. It's a zoo without zookeepers, and we all spend more time in Slack asking each other questions about what do you mean? What's going on? Those are the moments that matter, and they're smaller, and you might think that that's not sexy to put in a campaign. Like, I get it. These tech companies can't be like, oh, make sure that people aren't using Slack to complain about the company or continuously trip each other up and interrupt each other's psyches asking questions for these projects that are moving way too fast because we haven't properly trained the managers. That's not a sexy headline, but that's also the foundation of driving engagement. For any of these companies too to claim like, oh, we'll help you drive engagement. Here's 7 strategies. Here's 7 ways to drive engagement. Let's talk about retention strategies. That's the vague advice that doesn't really get you anywhere because they don't know your employees. They don't know the history of your company, your industry, your executives, temperature or temperament. What are you selling? How many employees do you have? What stage of growth are you in? What's the revenue like? No one can tell you how to drive engagement except your employees. And that's what I'm training on, is teaching you how to think for yourself. I want to get every one of you to a point where you don't go to Google or another Slack community to be like, why is what I'm doing not working? I'm going to train you over time. And in my next surveys webinar, which I'll put a link to in the show notes, if you're listening in the future, you can click it. It will take you to the on-demand recording. You need to get comfortable, and no one's taught you this before. That's why it's totally okay. You need to get comfortable when you don't have the answers to stay where you are with your people and say, I need to go get more data from the people. I need to build trust with my employees and go ask them, what is wrong? And get really good at interpreting what they're saying. That's why I call myself the disengagement whisperer, because if you ever want to send me your survey results, qualitative or not, or both, I can look at it and in 2 seconds say, oh, you have a management issue. Oh, you have a goals issue. And we map that to the hierarchy of employee needs, which I'm always going to be talking about because that's a core piece of making sure you work on things in the right order. Having a great onboarding, yes, that's important. But being onboarded into a company where it's chaos and anarchy, you worked on things out of order. So just be careful with these campaigns out there that sound sexy and like they have all the answers. They don't. And I can tell you, some of these HR tech companies are legit. I have met with the CEO of ChartHop, blew my hair back with how much passion he had and how much he cared about the importance of data analytics in an HR role. If you have not seen ChartHop or gotten a demo, they are not paying me to say this. I'm telling you the right information you need to do your job. You need data to get your revenue-obsessed executive to believe you that there's a problem here or there and give you budget. That tool is one of the best tools I've seen for organizing information in a really beautiful way and solving a lot of problems for you that you didn't even really realize you had for the sake of clarity around who's who, where does everybody fit in, where's everybody at. You've got compensation reviews, headcount planning, but specifically, they're people analytics. You keep getting told like you need data, people analytics, but what does that look like? I feel like they have one of the most figured it out ways of getting you there. So I could go on and on. I'm probably doing kind of a mediocre job of pitching you why you need to go check out that tool, but their CEO is what got me to even care about what they had to offer. And then once I saw it, I was like, oh, this is legit. One of their headlines is even expert level insights, no PhD required. I think that's so smart because sometimes I think we overthink the data that we need. And there are companies that care about you that are trying to figure it out for you so that you can just keep running. So go check out ChartHop. The other CEO I met with was Jenny from Leapsome. And I was so heartened by how much she cared about explaining what the tool was solving for and how much she cares about what they're building. And she's a part of Troop HR, which is a very dialed in group of HR leaders who get together on site. And Christy Williams is the first one who let me know about them. Christy sings their praises all the time. It's a little expensive, but it's worth the investment if you can get budget to go meet with other practitioners. And I saw some of the topics they were talking about. I was like, ooh, this is a good, non-ambiguous group. But I don't know how many HR tech companies have a CEO who's attending HR events, not with the goal of buy my tech. She's there because she cares and she's very curious about and cares a lot about you guys. She's there to, yes, network and talk about what she's doing, but I don't even think she was a speaker at the event. She was attending as an attendee. I've met a lot of HR executive level people and they're like just trying to sell the tool to get the company bought. And that's a whole other vibe. LeapSum is great for reviews, goal setting, and lots of other like engagement derivative features and solutions. So check out LeapSum too. Again, these companies did not ask me to do this. I spend my time in between the show and my webinars and my HR therapy. I spend time talking to the leaders at other companies to figure out which tech I would actually recommend at this point. The third thing that I want to caution you about that I'm seeing out there that makes me very nervous is a lot of HR content that's like got the middle finger on it, or it's like, it's my time, F you, and you don't want to sit around and roll around in your own filth. That's not going to get you anywhere. I'm not trying to make any enemies, but I did quit my job intentionally as a spokesperson to go off and say what was being unsaid to end the unnecessary suffering of the modern workplace. That is my mission. Sometimes that's going to involve, this is Christy's hot take on something I'm seeing that I don't like seeing. And I want to make sure everyone knows that this is why I think this is harmful. This is why I think this is not helpful. This is why I think you should be careful if this is all you're listening to or if this is all you're reading. And if you're still confused, there's a reason. Driving engagement is hard because no one's defined it up until this point. The content that I'm building, the reason it's called Engagement Academy is because nobody goes to employee engagement school. And the other HR leaders I hear talking about it in webinar format, they're being too vague because honestly, sometimes I feel like they don't even know. They just know the right words to say to do the dance, to be like, here's paradise. It's like, well, how do we get on paradise? How do we get to paradise? I tell you how to pack your bag, how to go build the plane, what to do if the plane won't take off, what to do when the plane takes off and you're having failures and you need to emergency land the plane and get everybody off and then get on another plane. That's the content I'm creating. That's why I have a whole different take on the other HR headlines out there because they're written by HR people who don't always know the right answers. And then they're copied by marketing teams who are completely burned out and are just trying to drive revenue for their company. And it's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. These weird, ambiguous playbooks that don't work. So just pay attention. If you're feeling confused, or if you're feeling like after you're listening to someone else's content, you feel upset, you feel like you have a victim mentality, you feel like you want to burn it all down and tell everyone at your company, screw you and give the middle finger and damn it, respect me. Don't listen to that content. That is going to send you down a path that you don't want to go down. And it's not going to get you to unlock that big, beautiful HR career that you deserve. Stay in your body. Yes, it's been hard. Yes, you've not been treated with respect. Yes, it's been confusing. Help is on the way. I am writing a playbook to drive engagement that will teach you how to think for yourself. I'm launching it soon. Keep listening. Ask me your questions. I want to round all of this out with, if you're lost or confused, or you feel like you're in a worse off place than you started, hopefully now you know why and what you can do instead. And it's find other HR thought leaders who are better answering your questions and making it easier to understand every day what it looks like to drive engagement in a way that the employee cares about, because that's the perspective I bring. Okay? I love you guys to death. I quit my job to do this. Sometimes my pep talks are going to be the side of me that was the D1 athlete with a fire chief dad and two much older brothers who just like, there was no softness in my household growing up. I had to fend for my own a lot. I do tend to take the Spartan woman, burn the ships, but it's never to yell at you. It's to encourage you. It's to tell you what's gotten us here is not going to get us there. We have to try something different. And I'm trying to rile you up in a way that makes you feel empowered and have more clarity than ever that you're perfectly capable. You are a future HR executive. It's coming. You want it so bad because future you already has it. So some of you, this might have been like, oh my gosh, Christy's popping off. I want you to know I see you. I was the disengaged employee who was making you nuts and driving the business into the ground on accident because I didn't know what was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. There was nothing wrong with me, but together we're definitely finding a better way. And the advice and the stuff I'm doing works because those of you who have reached out to want to work with me, we are having some incredible wins at your companies and it's been so much fun to see. So until then, make sure you have a hobby. Make sure that you've been kind to yourself today. You looked in the mirror and you said, I love you. Make sure you pick up the clothes in your closet to give yourself a clear psyche. Sometimes we walk past all the chaos and clutter in our home and it clutters our mind and we can't think on our feet. So I just cleaned my closet this weekend. It was a hot mess disaster. I hated it, but I feel so much better. Do the little things to get yourself to be okay because it's your life too and you are the main character, okay? I love you. I'll talk to you guys soon.